Hi everyone, I'll be doing my tutorial on the dog applique that I showed in between my crochet story when I was showing you the kind of practice that I have done. Again, the person that taught me how to crochet was Yolanda from the All Craft channel. And if you have any questions on how to do a stitch, or if you want to get started with her, I recommend for you to check out her channel. It's very good. She's a very good teacher. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna use the brown Red Heart Super Saver, and I'm gonna be using what I have left. It's part of my stash. So I can't show you guys the label because I probably threw it away a long time ago, but it's the Red Heart Super Saver. I usually use this type of yarn, like I said before. I really like it, and it's my go-to yarn. Okay, so I'll be getting out of my little bag my scissors and my 4mm crochet hook. Okay, and I'm gonna be starting off with a magic circle. And before I start, I usually like to keep my pattern, my written pattern, next to me when I'm crocheting, just to like go back and see and make sure that I'm not making any mistakes. Usually when I crochet along somebody from YouTube or from another site or whatever, I usually try to watch the video first or go through the instructions first and write them down for myself and make a note for myself in certain areas, and then crochet along. So I usually watch the video twice if I do it from a video, or I read through the whole crochet pattern first and I read the comments and things like that, and then I go ahead and try to do the pattern myself. Okay, so again, I'm gonna start with a magic circle, and that will be our start. Instead of doing a starting chain, I'm gonna do a magic circle because I don't want a hole in the middle of the round that I'm gonna make for the base. So I usually make a circle. So I'm just gonna hold my yarn like this. Okay, I'm gonna make a circle or an oval, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna grab it from where they meet. Okay, so I'm grabbing it where they meet. I pull the yarn from the back, because this is the back to me. Okay, the front is this part. This is the back to me. So I usually put my hook through. Okay, and I pull it up. I hold the circle on each side with my middle finger and my thumb, and then I yarn over and make a stitch just to hold the magic circle. This is not considered a stitch, it's just a holding stitch. So if I'm gonna chain one to go up to make my half double crochets, and this will not count as a stitch. So let me do the magic circle again. And like I said, if you have problems getting the hang of the magic circle or anything, go ahead and check out Yolanda at the All Craft channel. She's a great teacher. So again, I'm gonna grab my yarn, I'm gonna make a circle or a semblance of a circle in my palm. I'm gonna put my thumb where they meet, where they cross, okay, and I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it, and then I'm gonna grab my yarn, put it in the back, pull my hook through. So this is it. This is how you can't see it, and then I'm gonna go put my hook, okay, and then I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna grab it with this hand, go up, okay, yarn over, and make my holding stitch. Okay, and usually you're gonna have the tail in between, but you just pull the tail out and you're fine. So it can be nice and parallel. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up my yarn, I'm gonna tighten it a little bit, I'm gonna hold it from the bottom, from where that starting stitch is at. I'm just gonna hold it there too. I can yarn over, pull through, and make my first one stitch, my first chain up, so I can start my half double crochets. So I'm gonna yarn over, I'm gonna go through the loop, and I'm gonna yarn over, and then I'm gonna pick up my stitches up so they can all be at the same level. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 of my loops. Okay, and I usually hold this portion as I'm working, and I'm holding the little tail as well so it doesn't get in the way. Okay, so again, I'm gonna yarn over, I'm gonna go through the circle, I'm gonna pull the yarn, okay, I'm gonna pull up my stitches, and then I'm gonna yarn over. I'm holding always under the stitches as support, okay, and then I'm gonna yarn, and I'm gonna go all through all 3 of my stitches. Again, gonna yarn over, go through my circle, come up, okay, I'm gonna hold it, oops, I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna pull up my stitches, and then I'm gonna pull through all 3 of my loops. Let me redo that again. I think I did it too tight, it's not working. Okay, again, yarn over, go through the hole, then pick up my stitches, yarn over, and then go through all 3 of the loops. So that's how I'll be working. So yarn over, go through, come up, pull up my stitches, yarn over, and go through all 3 of my loops. Okay, and if I'm gonna be doing 12. So for this will be considered the first round, and I'm gonna be doing 12 half double crochets, and then I'm gonna join with a slip stitch. Okay, and as I'm working along, if the circle still is getting too big, all I have to do is pull on the little yarn and the circle starts closing. So I like to do that every so often so that my stitches are not like straight across and I get confused. So I'm gonna keep on doing my stitches until I get up to 12, and then I'll come back and we'll join it together. Okay, okay, I did my 12, and now I'm gonna join with a slip stitch. But first, before I do that, I'm gonna close my little magic circle. Okay, so like right now it looks like a half moon, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull, okay, and make sure that I pull nice and tight so that it can close completely. See, there's no hole going through, so I'm gonna pull a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and join with the slip stitch. So I'm gonna go to the first stitch that I made, and that's gonna be your chain 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through it, okay, and then I'm gonna yarn over, I'm gonna pull through both of my loops, okay, and it's gonna be a nice little round circle. Okay, oh whoops, let me go ahead and do it again. I'm gonna go through, okay, I'm gonna go through, ugh, it doesn't want to go through. Okay, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna pull, okay, and then I'm gonna pull through the other one, and there I have my slip stitch. I'm gonna yarn over and then chain 1. Okay, that's my chain 1 to go to the next row, and I'm gonna be doing half double crochets all around this circle. I started with 12, and I'm gonna make an increase of 12, so I need to end with 24 stitches when I'm done with the second round. So how I do that, it's by doing 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 half double crochets. So this chain 1 is gonna count as my first half double crochet. So now I'm gonna do my second half double crochet for the same stitch. So I yarn over, I am going through, I'm pulling my yarn, and then I'm pulling up my stitches. I'm gonna yarn over, and then I'm gonna go through all 3 of my loops, and that's my 2 half double crochets in 1 stitch. So I'm gonna go to the next stitch, I'm gonna yarn over, I'm gonna go through the stitch, I'm gonna pull my yarn through, okay, I'm gonna pull my stitches up, and then I'm gonna go through all 3 of my loops, and then I'm gonna go in the same stitch, I'm gonna yarn over, I'm gonna go through the same stitch, I'm gonna pull my yarn out, I'm gonna stretch my stitches up, and then I'm gonna go ahead, yarn over, and pull through all 3 of my loops. Okay, when it's a dark color like this, sometimes you have a little bit of problem differentiating, so you can go ahead and use your little flashlight your little flashlight, or to see the stitches, or you can go ahead and just kind of like eyeball it. So just make sure that you end up with 24 stitches, okay? So I'm gonna keep on working on the round. Again, 2 half double crochets in each stitch, and then by the time I'm done, I'm gonna come back and then we can join and go up to the next row or round. Okay, I finished my 24 stitches and I went ahead and counted them. You could either count them by the post or count them by the side stitches. When it's dark like that, I usually count the post. When it's not, I'll count the top little V's on the top. So I'm going to be joining with a slip stitch. And again, I'm going to go ahead and look for the same first stitch that I made, and I'm going to go through that stitch. I'm going to pull my yarn through, and then I'm going to pull through it again with my end stitch, okay? And this is my slip stitch. I'm gonna go up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start again with my half double crochets around, and I will be doing 2 half double crochets in each stitch again to go up to 36. Okay, so let's go ahead and start again. So I yarn over, I go through the same stitch, I pull through my yarn, I pull up my stitches, and then I go through all 3 of my loops. So again, I yarn over, I go to the next one, because that one, my chain one counted as my first half double crochet. I pull through, and then I pull up my yarn, have 3 loops on my hook, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3, and that's again my half double crochet. I will be going around, so 2 half double crochets in each stitch, and then I'll come back when I'm done with the 36, and we'll go ahead and join with a slip stitch. Okay, I'm done with the third round, and I have 36 stitches all the way around, and I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna look for my first stitch, I'm gonna go through, pull my yarn, and then I'm gonna pull through the first stitch. Through the last stitch, sorry. So again, okay, this is my last stitch, okay? So this is the loop that I have on my hook. I'm gonna look for my first stitch. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna pull the yarn through, and then I'm gonna pull the yarn through the last loop that I had on my hook. And that's my slip stitch. I will be going ahead and doing my 4th round, and this time I'm gonna just go 1 half double crochet all around. So I'm not gonna do any more increases. I'm just gonna do 36 more half double crochets all the way around. So again, we're gonna chain 1 to go up, okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap around. And I'm gonna, on the next stitch, because this one counts as my first half double crochet, so on the next stitch I'm gonna go ahead and poke through, and then I'm gonna grab my yarn, pull my yarn through, pick up my stitches. So I'm pulling them up so they can be nice and even, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches. So through all 3 loops. So I'm gonna go ahead and yarn over, go to the next stitch, poke through, I'm gonna grab my yarn, pull my yarn through, pick up my stitches, okay, and then I'm gonna yarn over and go through all 3 loops. So again, yarn over, go through the next stitch, pull my yarn through, pick up my stitches so they can be nice and even, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and I'm gonna keep on going like that, and I should have 36 stitches by the end of this round. And then I'm gonna go ahead and join with a slip stitch, and then I'm gonna fasten off, because that's how big I want my circle to be for my doggy applique. I measured it to my daughter's head, and that is gonna be about this big, and it's perfect for her head. It's not too big, it's not too small. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I finished my 36 stitches already, and I'm about to join and fasten off. So I'm gonna look for my first stitch, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull my yarn through, and then I'm gonna pull my yarn through again. Okay, you can do it in one fell swoop, but sometimes I find it easy like that, because sometimes it like pulls from my hook. But there's no big deal. I don't need to redo my stitch. I just fasten it like that. So then I'm gonna go ahead. Okay. Sorry. So I'm going through. I'm pulling my yarn through, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fasten off. So I'm gonna yarn over, pull it through the same loop, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull tight, and that is my complete applique bottom or base, whatever you want to call it. So it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. The first 3 rounds are increasing rounds, so it goes from 12 to 24 to 36, and the last one you just do 36 again, just to make it just a little bit larger. And yeah, this is the beginning of it. So now we're gonna go ahead and start with all the things that you pile on top. So this is like a little cake. You got your bread, and now you're gonna go and start decorating. So you're gonna do the little ears, the muzzle, and then we're gonna go ahead and embroider the nose and the mouth, and then we're gonna go ahead and cut little eyes out, or in this case I'm gonna go ahead and just hot glue little googly eyes on them, because last time for the first sample that I showed you on my crochet story, it was just horrible trying to do those eyes. I ended up trying to crochet an eye, and it came out really warped. Let me see if I can find it to show you, so you guys can have a little laugh about my eye. Okay, I tried to crochet this eye, but it was just too big. It looked weird. So yeah, so this is not gonna work for this. It was just too big, and to be honest, I didn't have the floss to make it smaller or with a smaller hook. So I'm just gonna go ahead and glue googly eyes instead of cutting them off of felt. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and stop. I'm gonna grab all my supplies to start making the ears. Hi, I'm back, and we're gonna start with the ears. I'm gonna be using the Red Heart Super Saver in tan. This ball of yarn I'm also gonna be using in my Sonic the Hedgehog hat tutorial. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this for my ears as well for the applique. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my yarn. Let me put this one away. Okay. And I will be using the same 4mm hook to do the ears. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my pattern. Okay, and okay, before I start, I wanna make sure that you guys know where I got this pattern from. The base is just a regular working in the round started circle. It's everybody knows how to do that, so that's really not a pattern that I got specifically from somewhere. I just got it by learning how to do hats. Usually this is how you start, but instead of using half double crochets, you use double crochets. But yeah, so this is not really a pattern that I got anywhere. It's just as you start crocheting, you start learning how to do certain things, and everybody knows how to do it, so it's really hard to pinpoint whoever invented the round or whatever. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start my little flappy ears, and like I said, I got this one from the Red Heart website, and I got it from I think they have a pattern for a mug holder or a mug warmer. I don't know what it was called exactly, but it's from that from the Red Heart website. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start by chaining 5. So I'm gonna do my slip stitch. So it's the same thing as you're doing the magic circle, but I usually for the slip stitch I just go around my 2 fingers, and then I put my hook through the circle, and then I pull my yarn, and I just pull. And this is how I do my slip stitch. You can find different ways. I leave a little tail so I can hold on to it as a base while I'm working my stitches. So I'm gonna start with 5 chains, okay? So it's gonna be, I yarn over, and I'm just gonna start pulling. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5. Okay, and then my first row on the second stitch, from your hook, you're gonna go ahead and do a single crochet. So without turning my work, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the second chain. So I'm gonna go to the second chain from my hook. So this is the chain that I have. So I'm gonna not go through this one, but to the next one. So the next chain I'm gonna go through, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go through. Okay, so let me go ahead and redo that one. Okay. I'm gonna go through. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead, go to the second. I'm gonna pull through, have two loops in my hook, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, and that's my single stitch, my single crochet stitch. So I'm gonna be doing that to the rest of the stitches. So that's gonna be 4. So you're gonna have 4 remaining stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4. So I'm gonna go to the next one. Okay, I'm gonna pull through. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and yarn over and then pull through both loops. So again, I stick it through my stitch without yarning over, and then I pull through. I pick up my stitch, and then I pull through. The reason why I pick up my stitches is because that way it becomes uniform. I used to have problems where my stitches were too tight and I couldn't get into them, and or it would kind of look warped. Some of them look longer than others, and it's because I wasn't being even in my stitches. I either had the tension very tight, and then I wasn't pulling up my stitches so they can be nice and even. Okay, so again, I'm gonna poke through the stitch, I'm gonna pull my yarn through, I'm gonna have 2 loops, and then I'm gonna pick up my stitch, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through. Okay, so now, okay, before I turn my work, I'm gonna go ahead and chain 1, and then I'm gonna go ahead and turn my work. So once I turn my work, okay, this is gonna be the second row, and then I'm gonna do a single crochet in my first stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna go through, gonna yarn over, pull my yarn through, I'm gonna pull my stitches, I'm gonna yarn over and then pull through, and then it says it's a single crochet first stitch, then 2 single crochets on the same stitch. So I'm gonna go ahead, go to my next stitch, okay, and then I'm gonna go through, pull my yarn through, pick it up and pick up my stitches, and then go through all 2, and in the same stitch I'm gonna go ahead and poke through again, pull my yarn up, pull my stitches, yarn over and pull through. Okay, and it says crochet on the same stitch in the following 2 stitches, and on the last 1 single crochet. Okay, so that means that we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, we're gonna go through the stitch, we're gonna pull our yarn through, and we're gonna go pick up our stitches, and then we're gonna pull through, and on the same stitch we're gonna go ahead and poke through, we're gonna pull our yarn up, we're gonna pick up our stitches, then we're gonna yarn over and pull through. In the last one I'm gonna do 1 single crochet, so that means I'm gonna go through the stitch. Okay, I'm gonna pull my yarn up, and I'm gonna pick up my stitches, I'm gonna yarn over, and then I'm gonna pull through. So I did 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet. So I need to have, by the end of row 2, I need to have 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stitches. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and chain 1 to go up, and then I'm gonna turn my work. Okay, so once I turn my work, I'm ready for row 3. Okay, in row 3 to 7, it's gonna be the same thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and single crochet across all 6 stitches, okay? And then I'm gonna chain 1 to go up. So I'm gonna go ahead and poke through, go up, and then pull through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see I missed 1 stitch in the beginning. So I'm gonna go ahead and unravel it. So I missed 1 stitch. Okay, so let's start over. Okay, so you have to have 6. Okay, so I missed 1 stitch. So you see this little, okay, so it's gonna be like right where the hook is, so right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through, pick up my yarn, and then go up on my stitches, and then yarn over and pull through. That's 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I have 6 stitches. I usually count my stitches, so because I end up always doing that, forgetting to stitch on the first one. I always skip it and I end up with 5. So it's good to have little tricks of your own so that you don't miss any stitches. But remember, you mess up, you unravel it, and then you keep going. So I'm gonna go ahead. This is my third row. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing throughout until I hit my 7th row. And once I hit my 7th row, I'll come back and we can move forward, okay? Because we're gonna do some decreases after that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start, okay? And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I did 4 more rows of single crochets. Remember, there's 6 of them in the row. And make sure that you always chain 1 to go up, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and chain 1 to go up, okay? I'm gonna turn my work, and I'm gonna do a decrease. And how you do that, you go ahead, like if you're doing a single crochet again, so I stick my hook through the loop from the bottom of the crochet, and then I pick up my yarn, I pull through, but instead of yarning over and fastening off, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up another stitch. So I go to the next stitch and I poke it through, I pull my yarn up, okay, and I pick up my stitches the same way. So now I'm gonna go ahead and yarn over while I have 1, 2, 3, and go ahead and pull through all 3, okay, and that makes 2 stitches, 1 stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same. Let me read my pattern. It says single crochet 2 together to make a decrease on first 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches. So I'm gonna do a single crochet on the next ones except for the last 2. Before I go to the last 2 stitches, I'm gonna do another decrease. So let's do it together. So I'm gonna go ahead and poke through the next stitch, pick it up, and then a single crochet. Okay, so another one. Okay, poke through, pull up my stitch, yarn over, and pull through. And now I have 1, 2 left. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pull through, pick up my yarn, and then instead of doing my single crochet, I'm gonna go through the last stitch. I'm gonna pull my yarn through, I'm gonna pick up my stitches, and then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. So you decrease 2 stitches on each side. So you should have 4 stitches across. Okay, because you're decreasing twice. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and chain 1 to go up, and then turn my pattern or my little project. And then for row 9, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. But this time, I'm not going to have any stitches in between. So I'm just going to do 2 decreases. So I'm going to go ahead and poke through my first stitch. Okay, I'm going to pick up my yarn. I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm gonna pull up my stitches, and then I'm gonna go to the next one, poke through, pick up my yarn, pull it up, and then yarn over and pull through. Okay, that's making 2 stitches 1. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna poke through, bring my yarn over. I'm gonna poke through, pick up my yarn, and then I'm gonna have two loops in my hook, and then I'm gonna go to the next stitch, poke through, grab my yarn, pull up, and I'm gonna have 3 loops on my pull or my crochet hook. I'm gonna yarn over, and then I'm gonna pull through all 3. Okay, and that's gonna give me 2 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, from 4 you got 2. Okay, so that's what you're gonna end up with. Now for the 10th row, you're only gonna do a decrease. So single crochet 2 together to make 1 stitch, and then we're gonna fasten off. And how we do that is we chain 1 to turn around our work, and then we're gonna go ahead and go through the stitch and then pull up a yarn, and then go through the next stitch and then bring up my yarn, and I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3 loops in my hook. Then I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 3, and I'm done. There is only 1 stitch left in my hook. Okay, and there's only 1 stitch up here. Okay, so I'm gonna go yarn over and then pull through the loop, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut, and I'm gonna fasten off. And you're gonna make 2 of these to make the little ears, and these are how the little ears look. Okay, after I'm done with everything, I'm gonna go ahead and hide my yarn or weave my yarn through, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start assembly. So I'm gonna make another one of these to have 2. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab my yarn, my white yarn for the muzzle, and I'm gonna teach you how to do the muzzle. Okay,